library is now turned into archive because we built a new library outside of the city center. But the library still is a very pretty place to visit. Inside, like lots of books and lots of data about our state. This is a university part of the city over here, where you have a chemical engineering faculty, for example, and we also have a faculty for geology and all the others. My wife's niece just went to study medicine, but not on Zagreb University, even though she should. She went on a Catholic one, where they pay 6,000 euros a year. That's again quite cheap compared to the States. Here on the left is a Museum of Arts and Craft. Modern building is a music academy. Lexicographic Institute on the corner. In front of us, center of the law faculty and Zagreb University. While the building on our right is our opera house. So the opera house is like, it was opened by Franz Joseph himself, so you can imagine, very important.
Quite old. Very impressive.
Yes, it was opened in 1895. Funny thing, when they were opening it, Franz Joseph was waving to the people from the balcony. They were writing in the press, we are opening a national library in outskirts of the city, because the city center was just down there. And wherever they have some tickets to sell for an opera, you get a huge queue of people buying the tickets, even though probably they don't understand what it's all about. But they need to be there, if you know what I mean. And it's a lovely park area as well. So how do you like the city compared to the other cities of Croatia? Different, right?
It is different.
A lot different.
It has a little bit more history, maybe. I don't know. There were more buildings. Because it's bigger than Ravnik.
Yeah, much bigger. Zagreb is a big town. The surface is like 600 square kilometers. That's like 2 times the national park Litvice, which is big. So you even have
Park?
see?
Yes.
Yeah, theme park of rock and roll. You have a couple of statues like Iggy Pop, David Bowie, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it popular?
But not so much anymore. These kids today listen to rap and trap. This is now mostly for the seniors. Boys in the gangs here. The guy that smokes, or these 2 girls that are Asians. This is a modern part of the town, developed after World War I and between World War II. There is a lovely building in front of us. It's called Meštrović Pavilion. But the funny thing about the building is, we don't call it the Meštrović Pavilion, we call it the mosque. Why the mosque? It's because it was turned into a mosque during the World War II. So the fascists of Croatia made this a mosque to be central mosque for the Muslims from Bosnia. Because Bosnia back then was inside of Croatia, and the state was called the Independent State of Croatia. But when the World War II was over, the communists took down the minarets and turned this into a museum. But it's a pretty building. It was made by Ivan Meštrović. Meštrović was the famous Croatian sculpturist, no question about it. But as well, look, if they ruined even this with this little... This small part here is this big one here. 60,000 graves.
Wow.
And around 355,000 people more or less are buried inside. lots of famous Croatians, but you never heard of any of them. There were even a couple of basketball players that played in the United States. By that as well, probably you didn't follow basketball.
Well, I don't, but you
Yeah.
might.
Dražen Petrovic was one of them. Believe it or not, once I brought an American couple here, they told me, oh, our friend is buried here. And I was like, who's your friend? And they told me, Krešimir Ćosić. He was a Croatian basketball player, played in the 70s in United States.
Wow.
And he was mostly known as the guy who was a Mormon.
Yeah, oh wow.
Yeah, so I was the...
That's unusual.
Yeah, and they were Mormons, these Americans. And then I asked them, were you the ones who converted him? And they were like, no, he was already Mormon when we met him. So he came back here and he opened the church with the Mormons in Zagreb. And this is our limestone. We built a lot of city with this stone, which is not the best quality. It's as it is. You built it, but you can't. We rebuilt the cathedral with it, and because of it's porous,
Right.
you know. So because of that, cathedral changed totally in the last 100 years.
It's really pretty.
This is the German architect who made the cemetery, Hermann Bolle, and he also was the guy who restored the city's cathedral, St. Mark's Church, Serbian Orthodox Church, Greek Catholic Church, Lutheran Church, one guy for all religions.
Originally, this must have been a bit outside the city for the cemetery because they don't usually, they want the land out.
Yeah.
It's very nice. That's nice.
Yeah, good, yeah. I agree. This is, for example, an investment. So somebody purchased an old one,
Right.
fixed it up, and now they're waiting for a buyer to be sold. If this family bought it for themselves, they were right there. But as there is no name, this holds the money value better than the money in the bank. No inflation here, you know. This one will always get you the money, yeah. Because it's a capacity is full. Can't get a small thing. This one can go $100,000
Wow.
without blinking an eye.
How many people would be there?
Now that's the thing. The guy that was restoring this first one, he told me that 20 people can be inside
Yeah.
because it's like a crypt. But I was like, really? Because I saw sometimes these small ones where you can squeeze. When I thought it's maybe for 2 or 3, and I saw it up for 8.
So what happened? So he bought this,
Yeah.
but there must have been people buried
Yeah,
there
they
before.
moved them and they put their remaining bones on one big mutual grave.
So even though those people bought them maybe 100 years ago, they didn't know they were going to be moved.
But you know how it is. I know cases when a kid buries his grandma,
Yeah.
and when he gets the ownership of a grave from mother, or he just
Right.
sells grandma away. He cares about $50,000 or $60,000, not about grandma.
Well, I would rather have my grandson have the money.
Yeah. You see, can you pronounce this last name of this family?
Holjevac? No.
Holjevac.
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 L and J, when they come together in this order, it's letter for itself. It's Lje. So it's like Ljubljana.
Ljubljana.
Yeah. This is my family name.
Oh.
They are maybe my relatives, but I...
Are they yours? No.
No, this Beco guy, I know about him. He was the owner of some restaurant in the city, and he was like a champion of Yugoslavian car racing. But his father, Vyacheslav, was the mayor of Zagreb in the 50s.
So are you going to be buried here?
I'm gonna be buried in some river.
Throw your ashes.
Yeah, throw my ashes away. I'll be burned down. I don't want only. I mean, I'm gonna be cremated, but I always liked if I would have a classical funeral, at least to have a nice song that would go with this funeral style. You know, I've selected a song. Have you heard about the song "Don't Let Me Down"?
Don't let me down.
Yeah, and then you go.
The Beatles.
Don't let me down. And the grave would move in the rhythm. The Beatles, yeah.
So those are all crypts or something, or names?
Yes, names of the people that are underneath. This is of course called the welcome. It always has these like that. The peasants, far from the center, well, aristocracy, the big here.
I'm like my mother. I don't want you to spend a lot of money on disposing of my body. Spend the money, if I haven't spent it all,
Yeah,
spend it on yourself.
that's a good way. My grandma was telling me before she died, when I die, you just throw me in the river. And then I said, Grandma, we cannot do that. It's against the law.
My
She
mother
didn't
said,
care.
throw me on the garbage
Yeah.
chute. 'Cause
Yeah.
she,
That's good.
she was a nurse. She saw all the life
Yeah.
things, and during war, she goes, I don't spend money on that.
Yeah. It's around here, it's not to die. It's an expensive thing. And we say it's expensive to live, but it's more expensive to die. Look at here when we just to show you. Can you guess what this alphabet is? So this is like a little Orthodox part. Also, you can notice Cyrillic over there on that. You see Jesus above
Yeah.
Jesus in Cyrillic. So this is
Yeah.
now the Orthodox. So there are all religions here. It's not just Catholics. Croatians are mostly Catholics, but there are Orthodox here, there are Turks, there were Jews here, there were Lutherans.
All right. And the names are, I don't remember. But it's interesting, once it comes to the alphabet, the words are not that different. They're just really long.
But I never learned. And I was the first generation. So the guys that were 1 year older than me, they had to learn. But now when I'm still some part like 30 or somewhere, I need to see the street. I don't know how to do it.
Read the street sign, yeah.
I don't understand why don't you put the alphabet to the left? You're not just going
Okay.
back to here.
It was rewarding to me because when we went to Moscow and we went into a restaurant, I could actually read the menu.
Same candy. Azerbaijan became like a very strong country now. All the gold, not the gold, the oil. I mean the black gold. I've seen some videos how it looks like out of this world.
Well, we were there during the development, so it's much more modern now. I liked it when the old town square was more there. So.
There are Muslims there, right? Are they extreme or they are normal?
Well, we were there, it was normal. I don't know what.
In every nation now you get a lot of. Yes. Nice little
These are
gemstones.
very nice statues. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Now imagine how much you have to spend on this. It's
Well, that's very
expensive.
modern. 200,000? No, maybe more.
Maybe. I mean, just to get the spot.
Right.
These even have a bench to sit.
Yeah.
But you, as well, if you have your grave, okay, you spend just maintaining it and fixing it up. But if you die, you have to do as well this funeral, which costs. You have to take all of the people from funeral then on the lunch or a dinner because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And now do the
Do that
calculation.
in the States, they call it, it's a meal after.
Yeah. A meal after, and then everybody gets wasted.
Yeah. And they die on the way home.
Ah,
Because they have a
also.
car crash.
Yeah. Also it happens. Yeah. Look at this huge one.
It is.
This one even has draining. Look. In the case that it floods, no, I never saw that. So they thought about everything.
It's almost like people would come here just for turning. There are handles on there so you can pull it up in case somebody's knocking. I'm not dead.
There were cases like that as well.
Yeah.
Awful to think about, but yeah. This is a family that owns a license for McDonald's in Croatia.
Really?
Yeah, but they were rich even before McDonald's. That's recent, maybe 15 years ago. They had the salami factory Gavrilovic. Maybe you ate it along the way because it's one of the largest in the country. They served for Habsburgs for generations as the provider of food. Of course, they're going to be rich.
So this is just waiting for family members.
They are here, but the family name is here, so it's their grave. They're just waiting, yeah.
These are huge.
But look at this fancy family.
Yeah.
See the titles. Professor, doctor, professor, doctor. Look, that one is only a doctor.
And he has a little light going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And even bring fresh flowers here.
Yeah.
Well, I think those are artificial.
Are they?
Yeah.
But people are obsessed with that, you know. They believe, you know, that somebody's gonna walk around after and then you're gonna admire, wow, look how they were educated and how they were good family. But in the end, no. However, they put you then on your wagon and then the whole ceremony goes to your grave. But it's now under renovation. Ugly as hell, but from inside you make it on your own.
At least some of them have balconies.
All of them have balconies.
Do they?
These here, I mean. I have 2 balconies in my apartment. It's not bad, but it's the building is without an elevator. You know, they were built up to 4 floors,
Right.
so that they don't have to have an elevator by the law. 5th floor has to have it. But all of them have 5 floors because they trick the system. They call the first floor ground floor, and the ground floor basement.
Right.
You know, and that's how they did it. This guy carries on his roof a device that he's going to use to make a potion called rakia. That's a schnapps. Yeah, so probably he's an alcoholic like me.
And you said yes. But I want to do it. I'll follow that.
This is not the main square. There's well lots of bars, restaurants. For a Saturday, this is like packed with people, like this book. You cannot get a spot anywhere in any bar because people come here, they dress up nicely and then they wait for people to spot them. If they met somebody, oh, you are so good looking now, you know.
Je dobio mandat.
One of these 2 towns, Zagreb. Capital is the older one that dates back to 1094. This is Glavec that dates back to 1242. We just came inside of the city, and now we just trying to see the St. Martin Church, but this is also a nice church of St. Catherine that dates back to the 1630s. It was built by the Jesuits, and Jesuits came to Zagreb when they opened a high school in 1607. High school opened right is considered the oldest school in the city. There are bigger ones. There is schools up there. But they are divided in shifts there to these. This is one of the popular museums here. Look at the name of the museum. This is a broken relationship museum, and it's one of the most popular museums in the city. People spend like an hour reading these stories about these relationships that got broken, but also you have a nice photo store where you can go after for a nice drink. These are nice souvenirs. Was the first president of Croatia. He was elected for president in 1990, and he died on the duty. He was the president during the war, and before that during the times of getting our independence from Yugoslavia.
Well, he deserves a good
Yeah.
monument.
Already 2 years ago his wife died, Ankica. How years fly, you know, this was in COVID.
Yes.
Tudjman, he had a title of a doctor because he had a PhD in history. He was also a general, so he was in general during the World War II times. Not in the war, he was not a general, but after the war he got the title. He was like a major in the war, mayor. And for the All Saints Day, that's like the November.
Ne, pa moraju mi... Hoćeš ti tam?
This is going to be a new pedestrian zone here, but it's going to take time for people to accept it. The cars are driving. Nice restaurants as well, like the one here, Vina. Popular restaurant. Or a funicular line.
He had trouble with the 100 stairs.
Yeah, I would imagine, but that's why.
Necesita 2 horas y media para hacer las cosas para parar las horas por la mañana. Este trabajo es bastante ridículo, pero una zona muy interesante, romántica, que quiere regresar esta noche. Empieza alrededor de las 7 ahora. Yo nunca lo he visto. Puedo pasar una parte de la calle con las lámparas, pero no, pero
Here is where they got the statue of Nikola Tesla, because he was here in the City Hall in 1992 when he wanted to do the speech and help the city select the real electricity, the right one. This one is
funicular también trabajas en el funicular, entonces una pausita.
his duty as the son of this country to help us out. So in the end, next year, the decision will finally made that Tesla's electricity is gone, let's say, this war. Okay, used to be legal. They used to give you a prescription. Now it's a different time. I mean, cooking is better.
No, but they used to do that for pain relief
Yes,
and what
yes.
have you. It didn't used to be
Yeah,
There were, there's always been addicts, but.
Remember that guy that last year two Americans, they wanted to come to Opatija, Croatian coastal city, to see where his father was born. So this guy was American chemist, and his father was born in a family of pharmacists. And his grandpa had a pharmacy over there, but they had to leave it in 1940. In 1918, when the World War I was over, that part became Italy, so they left to United States. Funny thing is with Zrinski, I mean, he was aristocracy, Zrinski. Hungarians also claim he's as their, the Hungarians claim him, he's their guy. And they call him Miklos Zrin because they say, oh, he was our fighter, but of course this is a Croatian aristocracy. But back then aristocracy was aristocracy, peasants were all peasants. Nations came after the war. And we got to continue up this road. Central church in the city. I mean in the country, I would say, because Croatia is ruled from here, right from here. Zagreb's cathedral, as we see it now, is under renovation, but it's under renovation for already 34 years. The renovation that doesn't have an end, we call it like that, and you see that they are piling up the scaffold now. That's probably because of an earthquake that we had here in March of 2020. Before the earthquake, it was also under renovation from 1999. And it's under renovation because Tama had material selection in the 19th century renovation. So the cathedral was damaged in the earthquake in the 1880, and then they needed to restore it. And then they thought it's the cheapest material to get that. So notice something is not. Depends probably how much other ingredients you have. And as you see, what was holding the whole structure were this little primitive, what I call them, keep it in the lead, and they were one inside. Lead doesn't rotate, they're not break. That was a Roman invention. Yeah. Never-ending story. And you see, that was the one that I told you, the gypsy.
You can see how to go there.
And robots initially shown these stone tablets.
Looks like you're waiting for his mate to move. Okay, so I can get out of there.
This
this is a nice view of the St. George and the entrance to the city that we call the Stone Gate. St. George was the guy who killed the dragon. That's why there is a dragon in the bottom, even though when Chinese come, they say that no dragon that come. Because really it looks more like a catfish. But the statue symbolizes how good won over evil, because evil was the dragon. Even though from today's perspective, there are lots of questions about it, you know? Maybe the animal lovers will say, well, here it is, an animal, and now they are extinct, you know? Like in all over the world, they are taking... But it was like, believe that out of, They sell nice traditional dessert, it's called dough and put it in a hot tub and we'll...
이렇게 크게 넣으려고
들어봐. 성모 말이야. 머리 위에 별이 있으면 신이라고 했잖아. 신이야.
On va redescendre un peu plus, on va aller en ligne, on va essayer de garder une... faut que je me retrouve.
Huge cemetery.
This is interesting. The glass work and the bronze work.
She likes to work in the city center, you know, everything is close by.
cuando nosotros recordamos que es una persona notable, importante, era demasiado tarde.
So this is like important part of the city. This on our left is the government headquarters.
Okay.
So prime minister, ministers, they work from these buildings over here. So probably somebody came to visit over the headquarters of the government. So probably that's some kind of a minister or even a driver. I don't know. Recognize him because we had the elections in April and there were new ministers now that came up. So I still didn't figure out who is the minister of
who's
what.
who?
Yeah, it was all recently. But this is not the only important part of the square. On the opposite side of the square, we have the Parliament of Croatia. So this is where 151 of them work hard for our lives to be better. Whoever has most hands in the parliament will give a representative who's going to become a prime minister, because you have to have the majority in the parliament. Whoever has most hands, they go to president to get a job of a prime minister. That's how it functions here. During the times of first Croatian independence, when Tudjman was president, then we had a system like you had in the States, presidential system, and president was running the country, government was under his command. Now it's the prime minister running the country. President just goes around, tells jokes sometimes, and that's how it is. The parliament is now going to go under renovation for the next 3 years, they said. They're already cleaning up the stuff, and the army is used for taking out the furniture, and now it's going to be fixed up. They're now somewhere in, I think, in the National Library, the politicians. While in the middle of the square, we have the Zagreb's, one of the prettiest Zagreb's church. It's called St. Mark Church. Church dates back to the 13th century, and we traced the 13th century on the window. That small window next to a big one, that's the original part of the church. Portal dates back to the 14th century. It's the original Gothic portal, St. Mark just above the door, and the apostles. So this is, let's say, Gothic original part of the church. What was added new was the roof and the tower in the 19th century. The tower was done in 1841, while the central part of the church was done in a renovation from 1876 till the 1882. Then they added this new roof. It's again like the one on our left. It's like a terracotta, but painted, and then you get the colored, painted, baked, and then you get the mosaic form of the roof as we have now. It has two shields. Right one represents the city of Zagreb. It's a fortified town with 3 towers and star and the moon. Those are the old symbols of our first flag that we use. It's called like a Illyrian flag. And it has a star as a symbol of Lada. She was the goddess of spring and fertility in the Slavic world, while the moon is her son Ledo. He is the god of love. On our left is the flag of the three kingdom of Croatia, Dalmatia, and Slavonia. So you saw kingdom of Croatia, you saw kingdom of Dalmatia, but you didn't saw Slavonia, which is the bottom coat of arms, and that's the region east from here. But for Americans, the Slavonia very confuses you with Slovenia, because it's very similar, and then Slovenia confuses you with Slovakia.
But they may have them in my area. Sorry.
I will continue over there, but here you can see the most famous guy. Heard about him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was, that's why I say it's honestly named Cameron here. But that region is not known for as famous Mark people. It's usually known as the hillbilly area. But in that area, we call it like this. Like he was born in Croatia. His parents were Serbian, and his history as well. He was not from Serbia. He was from Croatia, Serbia. We placed the statue back here a couple of years ago because it was the anniversary of his birthday.
And the statue was made by Ivan Meštrović. He was a famous Croatian sculptor. The one that made that round building. And also it's
Und dann kam erst eine Diagnose, dass wir gewusst. Und dann ist sie ja arbeiten und dann wurde sie immer schlimmer, weil sie ja immer dieses belastet. Vielleicht war das ja gar nicht angerissen. Vielleicht ist ja das ist danach passiert. Vielleicht war es ja nur ein Haares, ne? Aber unbelehrbar, stur da. Also man hat auch stur. Genau dann extra anders.
Right above
yes. So maybe this is even a good location, as I see he's a YouTuber. So well, it just came a bit earlier.
But also a lot of good people.
Yeah, I wanted to say, because during the times of Castro, we had a lot of English people.
Yeah.
But we always have criminals as well among them.
Yeah, but a lot of
Grandpa's gonna push you. Yeah.
Llevo las flores.
je pense que
Exactly. And it would never, from my and a year ago, he announced he wasn't going to run. So the Democrats could have had more choice as to. Yeah. And had he not run, perhaps Trump would have. There's also a time that the other party.
Know what the next guy's story? No?
I should neither one have to be choice.
In the 17th century,
Time to shift gears.
The whole world is watching us, we would say.
Yeah, and I will tell you that Kamala Harris is responsible for voter being voted. Because they want all these immigrants to come over. Yes. But of course you can't vote unless you're but unfortunately there are scoundrels who are registering all these people to vote. And nobody's checking ID. I have to have an ID to fly on an airplane.
Yeah.
Why not
Show
have
ID for you. We have to show it. We used to have to put the fingerprint on.
And that's a good idea, because everybody has to look biometrics.
square.
Fountain is the place where it's down in Rome. People forgot where the fountain was. Fountains of the name of now we have it here just as how we call it, the wishing well. You know, so when the kids graduate high school, they just jump inside, you celebrate, and you just and the square is named after international hero, of course. Died from an illness. That's like his horse cancer. The horse is a real actual horse that he and when he was made, to protect from no-bombs. Back then, US and UK bombs.
World War II time.
If you did not know that, French, independent mistake, but of course you will never know about it because you're too busy with Japan and that. But the shelter is a place where you will hear a siren, you will run.
You still get fruits and vegetables here on the top, olive oil, honey, all kinds of locally grown products. Also, underneath, there is another level of the market where they sell meat and cheese. It's like a pool. And since the 1930s, this is a central market in the city. I do my shopping here because prices can be good, but I have to know who am I buying stuff. There are all kinds of deals. Saying their own. That's what I like to buy. That's a good price for young beans, €2 per kilo. That's okay. But you have to clean it up. That's why it's cheaper. But then again, you get the fresh young beans to eat. You need to do some shopping here? No? Honey products? No?
Slobodno, evo ja ovdje imate 60. Direkt. Slobodno, sve vam.
I don't, yeah. So what's the fight? How was the fight?
I mean, you send the army to fight the Japanese and then the Germans, but around here when you have the Germans, it's not a pleasant lifestyle. Overnight, when the World War II came here, that was in April of '41, when the racial laws came, if you're in the wrong side of these laws, you just became a number. It's not just the Jews, it was the gypsies, the homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, the communists, all of them.
They went over to the train station.
Yeah, they would just put them in or shoot them somewhere outside of the city and